Hello and welcome. You're with us here on Business Today. I'm Abha Bakaya. Here are the day's top stories. Dalal Street at a 2-month low. Sensex sinks for a 6th straight session, ends 509 points lower. Nifty below 16,900. Bank stocks get battered in trade while mid-caps manage to outperform blue chips. Rupee slides to fresh record low of 81.94 against the dollar. Indian currency depreciated 9% against the greenback in this year so far. Business Today Newsbreak confirm Modi government extends free food grains program until December. The extension will add a burden of 45,000 crore rupees to the national exchequer. Ahead of festive season, Union Cabinet raises Dearness Allowance of Central Government employees to 38%. The 4% hike will benefit about 50 lakh employees and 68 lakh pensioners. As the bears continue to tighten their grip, markets fell for a 6th straight day amid weakness across global markets. Investors also awaited the outcome of the RBI's MPC meet, which is due this week. Moreover, FPIs too continue to sell for a 5th straight day. Sensex tumbling 509 points to close at 56,598. The Nifty too shedding nearly 150 points to fall below 17,000. Metal and banking indices were down nearly 2% in trade. Hindalco, JSW Steel, Axis Bank, ITC and Reliance, some of the top blue chip laggards. It was the pharma sector which lent some support. Asian Paints, Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Eicher Motors and Power Grid were some of the gainers in trade today. The rupee collapsed to a new record closing low driven by a soaring dollar. The Indian currency plunged 37 paise to close at 81.94 against the US dollar. The dollar index is at a 2-decade high as people across the globe turn to the greenback to hedge over fears of recession. While the RBI has been intervening to help the rupee, State Bank of India is of the view that it might be better for the Reserve Bank to allow the rupee to depreciate a little and let it find its natural balance. But what will the RBI do next? Take a look at this special report.
As the Reserve Bank of India's Monetary Policy Committee begins its deliberations on whether it should raise the interest rates to rein in inflation, it most certainly has the unprecedented fall in the rupee in its sights as well. The rupee has fallen more than 10% this year, closing today at an all-time low of 81.94 against the US dollar. It is, however, still better than the other major world currencies. The Japanese yen has lost nearly 30% of its value against the dollar this year. The British pound has slipped 21% to below $1. The euro is down 18%. Even the Chinese yuan is down around 12% this year. It's this global currency meltdown that the Finance Ministry is taking comfort in, stressing the rupee has performed much better than its peers and that it is not the rupee falling but the rise of the dollar.
How other currencies are behaving versus the dollar. If any one currency which has held its own and behaved in such a way or held its own and did not get into a fluctuation or volatility as much as other currencies, it is the Indian rupee. We have held back very well. We are keeping, RBI and the ministry are keeping very close watch over it.
The RBI has meanwhile regularly intervened in the money market, selling dollars, trying to stabilize the rupee and minimize volatility, generously dipping into its huge foreign exchange reserves. In the process, however, the reserves, which peaked at $642 billion on the 3rd of September 2021, have fallen nearly $100 billion in a year to $546 billion. It's, however, becoming clear that the traditional measures are not helping RBI, with the rapid interest rate hike in the US negating all intervention by the Indian Central Bank. There have been suggestions that it is time for the RBI to take some extraordinary steps. The ball was set rolling in July with the RBI relaxing norms for FCNRB, NRE deposits and ECBs. However, to support the rupee further, the RBI may open a special window for oil importers who are the major consumers of forex. The central bank could also reduce hedging costs for overseas depositors as well as allow rupee or non-dollar currencies for trade settlement. There have been some drastic suggestions to also limit imports of non-essential goods like gold. The latest issue of the SBI Eco-Wrap report has meanwhile recommended that RBI continue with its traditional course of intervention in the forex markets, saying that it has worked well in controlling the fall of the rupee versus the other central banks. With Karishma Asudani, Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
India Today's Rajdeep Sardesai also spoke to Dr. Sajjid Chinoy, Chief India Economist, JPMorgan, to take stock of the Indian economy. Here's an excerpt of that conversation.
Dr. Chinoy, the rupee once again continuing with this consistent depreciation, reaching a new low today. How worried should one be?
Rajdeep, I think one needs to understand what's happening globally. We're seeing market movements that we haven't seen in decades over here. And the genesis of all of this, Rajdeep, is that the US Fed is on course to raise interest rates to, close to 5%. The last time this happened was 2007. An entire generation has grown up with, zero interest rates and low for long. This is brand new phenomena. Now, what higher US interest rates do is suck away capital from all economies towards the US. And therefore, many currencies are in a tailspin. Just to put this in perspective, the euro is currently today at the lowest level since 2001. The British pound is at the lowest level in more than 5 decades. The Chinese yuan today was at the lowest level since 2007. So this is a phenomena that's affected all currencies, both advanced economies and emerging markets. India is no exception. We will, be at the receiving end of the shock. And I think prudent macro management would suggest that we don't resist this beyond a point. A calibrated, gradual currency depreciation actually is a good safety valve. It's a seatbelt against the shock and will ensure that at the end of this process, India's exports are not uncompetitive. So this is a necessary, response to unprecedented global market movements in the last 2 decades.
But having said that, as you rightly said, the rupee seems to be doing relatively better vis-a-vis the dollar compared to other global currencies. But how far can we go in protecting the rupee? Is there a point at which we should be worried in allowing the rupee to find its own level in the times that we are?
So Rajdeep, one thing is that the future is very uncertain because all of this will hinge critically on what happens to the US Fed. If the Fed were to remain hawkish and keep raising interest rates, till the first quarter or second quarter of next year, we need to be realistic that the pressure is going to sustain. If, we get lucky and US inflation begins to turn down, the US labor market begins to soften, and you see the Fed becoming a tad dovish, this could reverse in a jiffy. But we can't be relying on hope and luck. Now, if this process is going to last for months and quarters, one has to be realistic about what the options are. There are 3 options here that India has when faced with strong capital outflows. One is to take some of the pressure on this war chest of foreign currency reserves that we've built up in the last 2 years. And that has been the preferred option of the RBI over the last 6 months. But you want to be careful not to run that down too much because you want to preserve ammunition if this shock goes on for another 6 or 12 months. The second option is, if you want to prevent a faster drawdown of reserves, is for the exchange rate to become the shock absorber, to become the adjustment mechanism. And the third mechanism to guard against this is to ensure that the interest rate differential with the US doesn't narrow to very low levels. If US rates are going up, we've seen interest rates around the world will have to go up. And this week when the MPC meets, I'm sure this will be a factor. So expect that interest rates will also go up. So the shock will have to be absorbed across these 3 instruments. Higher interest rates, a weaker rupee, and some running down of reserves. If you rely only on one instrument, that may be imprudent.
The Modi government has extended its flagship Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana by another 3 months until the end of the year. The extension coincides with Gujarat Assembly elections and is expected to cost the central government an extra 44,000 crore rupees and would further dip into food stocks.
For 800 million poor spread across India, this festive season promises some relief. In a big move, the central government has extended the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana for a 7th time till 31st of December. The scheme, launched in March 2020 to help the poor tide over the COVID lockdowns, provides 5 kg of food grains per person every month, free to beneficiaries over and above the normal quota provided under the National Food Security Act at a highly subsidized rate of Rs 2 to 3 per kg. The scheme, originally intended for just 3 months, has already been extended 6 times. Around 3.45 lakh crore rupees has so far been spent on feeding the poor. The fresh 7th extension is expected to cost the exchequer another 44,762 crore rupees.
प्रधानमंत्री गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना को अगले 3 महीने के लिए मंजूरी दी है, उसके विस्तार के लिए मंजूरी दी है। 80 करोड़ से ज़्यादा लोगों को इसका लाभ मिलता है।
Concerns have also been raised over the depleting levels of food stocks in the country and how the extension of the Anna Yojana will further strain the situation. The central procurement of wheat this year plunged to just 18.7 million tons from 43.3 million tons last year. The current wheat stocks in the country are at a 14-year low of 25 million tons. Rice stocks are also at a low of 24.6 million tons. Against this monthly offtake of this scheme is around 700,000 tons of wheat and 3.3 million tons of rice. This does not include the offtake under the older ration scheme, under which 20 lakh tons of wheat are distributed every month. There is also concern that rice procurement, which begins next month, may fall short of targets, affecting the overall food security of India.
आपदा जो महामारी का समय है वो तो था ही, लेकिन उसमें भी मदद की और त्योहार के समय भी साथ में मदद करने का निर्णय किया गया है और इसमें कहीं कोई कमी नहीं आएगी, चाहे वो गेहूं की हो या चावल की हो। अनाज 3 महीने तक, अक्टूबर से दिसंबर तक, त्योहार के समय गरीब जनता के साथ, जरूरतमंद के साथ मोदी जी की सरकार खड़ी है और इसकी पूरी भरपाई।
The ration distribution under the National Food Security Act is budgeted at over 2 lakh crore rupees this year. There are concerns over the strain on the central government with the additional expenditure. The scheme is also being blamed for causing some disruption to the agricultural trade, given allegations that an unknown quantity of free food grains are being illegally sold in the open market. With Karishma Sudani, Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
Karishma joining us with more details on that. Karishma, this clearly adds to the fiscal burden. How do you see the government's expenditure position currently in comparison to what was estimated in the budget early this year?
Well, absolutely right. The Union Cabinet today extended the Anna Yojana scheme by another 3 months. The scheme, which was introduced during the pandemic, was extended by 6 months until September 30 and now will be under implementation until December 2022. This has gone through various extensions, to be honest. The whole motive of the scheme was to help people with the 5 kg food grains per person per month, which benefited more than 80 crore people in India to reduce the hardships that were faced by people. But Finance Ministry expressed displeasure in further extension of this scheme because of the kind of burden it would hold on their fiscal estimates. Already it is because of fertilizer subsidy, excise cuts on fuel and first extension of Anna Yojana in this this financial year, we are looking at an additional expenditure close to rupees 2.5 lakh crore. Anna Yojana costed government almost rupees 80,000 crore for the last 6 months, and in total, if you see, the whole scheme has costed an expenditure of close to rupees 3.5 lakh crore. Now, the next 3 months, that is the latest extension, the government will have to shell out close to rupees 44,000 crore. While of course clearly this is more than what government had estimated in its budget, but sources tell us that government is confident that they'll be able to balance it with revenues, and they're also confident that despite inflation, despite this additional expenditure that has come, they will not be going ahead with additional borrowing.
Thanks for that, Karishma. Now, in what could be seen as a festive season gift for central government employees, the Union Cabinet increased the Dearness Allowance of its staff by 4%. This hike will take the DA effectively to 38% for central government employees. Over 50 lakh central government employees and 62 lakh pensioners are likely to benefit from this hike. Union Minister Anurag Thakur said that the government has allocated 12,852 crore rupees.
मंत्रिमंडल ने 1 जुलाई 2022 से देय केंद्र सरकार के कर्मचारियों और पेंशन भोगियों को 4% की दर से महंगाई भत्ते और महंगाई राहत की अतिरिक्त किश्त जारी करने की मंजूरी दी है। सालाना 12,852 करोड़ रुपए का बोझ सरकारी खजाने पर पड़ेगा और 8 महीने के लिए, जो अभी हम जुलाई 2022 से फरवरी 2023 तक देखें, तो 8,568 करोड़ रुपए का बोझ वित्तीय वर्ष 2022-23 में पड़ेगा। लेकिन इससे लाखों ऐसे सरकारी कर्मचारी और जो पेंशन धारक हैं उनको लाभ मिलेगा।
Let's take a very quick break. Back with more on the other side.
कभी दीवार पर निखर आती है सपनों की सौगात, और कभी बेडरूम के कोने में ही हो जाती है नए बिजनेस की शुरुआत। कभी किचन से आती खुशबू से ही भर जाता है पेट और दिल, और कभी दरवाजे से आती दिखती है ढेर सारी खुशियां। आपका घर है आपकी अमानत, और आपके घर की खुशियां हम रखेंगे सलामत। SBI Home Loans.
Do you know why most video call presentations don't go as planned?
Bad internet.
No, it's because we sit and present. We should use the environment but always stay in focus. When I present, you follow. If I move left, you go?
Right.
Right.
One moment. You mean like this or like this?
Oh.
The all-new HP Spectre with AI-powered auto-frame technology, designed on the Intel Evo platform.
Feel your best with Skin by Titan.
हमारी कार कितने में निकलेगी?
सर ये।
वाह।
यस सर, OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
सुनीता, सुना तुमने ये क्या बोल रहे हैं?
यही कि OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
बाबूजी, सुना आपने सुनीता क्या बोल रही है?
ये सब यही बोल रहे हैं कि ये प्राइस ही नहीं सरप्राइज है। विजिट olxautos.in.
Are you ready? Let's go. You're going out tonight.
Yes, they're electric. Among other wonderful things, the fully electric Audi e-tron models.
Welcome back. The World Trade Organization has warned that the world economy could be slipping into a recession. The Director General of the world body said in an interview that economic indicators do not look good because of several factors, which include the war in Ukraine, the energy crisis, and high food prices. The WTO had, in April, reduced its growth projection for merchandise trade to 3% from 4.7% earlier.
We're very worried about all the indicators because the outlook is on the downside, which we had actually predicted. We're right in the middle of revising our forecast now, but it's not looking very promising. So it's most likely that we're going to be seeing, all the indicators are pointing to downside numbers. I wish we could have finished the revision, but we're literally in the middle of it, but it's not looking too great.
Tata Motors has launched India's most affordable electric car, the Tiago EV, at 8.49 lakh rupees. This is also the first EV to be priced under 10 lakh rupees. Business Today TV's Chetan Bhutani caught up with Shailesh Chandra, the MD at Tata Motors Passenger Vehicle and Electric Mobility Unit, asking him about the festive season outlook, rupee depreciation and more.
Tell us about the car. Do you think this is the right time to bring a Tata Tiago EV? You have already sold 4,25,000 vehicles in the ICE segment. Now this EV is here. Do you think that strategic timing has matched your expectations?
See, for quite some time we have been saying that we have the aspiration of bringing 10 products in the next 5 years. This is the fourth nameplate. We had a Nexon EV, we had a Tigor EV, we had a fleet segment product which was Express T, and we have this fourth product which is coming. We had also said that out of these 10 products will be a different affordability point with more range options and more importantly different body styles, because consumers in India have very nuanced tastes and very different tastes, and their preferences for body style is quite different. So we wanted to have all these representative body style already covered. So we had first come with an Nexon EV which was an SUV, then we came with a sedan, and now we have launched a hatch. This hatch is the most accessible vehicle, at the same time ensuring that the premium quotient of electric vehicle and the aspiration that is now around electric vehicle is done full justice. That's why we have come with very premium features which are not seen in hatches, like telematics and automatic climate control. Many features have been given. So I think this is going to really disrupt the market because this matches the need of the electric vehicle customers. At the same time, it comes at a price which is pretty close to what you would get in this segment in an ICE world also for an automatic car. So I think this is going to really take the benefit of, as you rightly said, the ICE which is already successful, the Tiago ICE, because of its stylish design, best-in-class safety, very agile driving experience. It will build on that. It will take it to the next level. I think it will add to the volumes of Tiago, which is already strong.
Well, India's most affordable electric vehicle car has officially been launched by Tata Motors, and I'm right now standing with that vehicle. Tata Tiago EV has been launched officially. Let me just quickly give you a sneak peek inside the vehicle. The vehicle comes with a whole lot of features that you would probably find in an expensive electric vehicle. But yes, Tata Motors has kept in mind about the affordability factor for a common man. Launched at 8.49 lakhs, the vehicle, the price is reserved for about 10,000 first customers, about 4.25 lakh vehicles already sold. Let me just give you a quick look about how the vehicle looks at behind this Tiago EV badging. Has been very aggressively put out to ensure the vehicle looks very attractive. About 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, 315 kilometer range in the higher battery of 24 kWh, and the 19 kVh would offer a range of about 250 kilometers. And about 8-year, 1,60,000 kilometer warranty given on the battery and the motor, and you would eventually save up about 90 to 95% of the cost if you would particularly drive this vehicle. So clearly, an in-depth review will be given later on when we get to drive this car. But the first looks of it, the Tata Tiago EV would definitely be a hot seller for Tata Motors.
In what could be a defining moment for the aviation industry, an all-electric aircraft took its first flight in the US. The plane is built to carry 9 passengers and 2 pilots. The flight, which lasted 8 minutes, much longer than that of the Wright brothers more than 120 years ago, could herald a major shift in the highly polluting industry.
The sleek new aircraft took off at 7:10 a.m. from an airport in Washington state on the northwest corner of the United States. the aircraft sounded a little strange, without the usual scream of jet engines expelling nearly a ton of air per second. All because Alice is powered by 21,500 small Tesla-style battery cells and not by aviation fuel. The plane flew for 8 minutes, reaching an altitude of 3,500 feet, with speed peaking at 275 kilometers per hour. Developed by US and Israeli engineers, the aircraft is built for short hops.
So we're looking at developing an airplane that will fly, 1 to 2 hours, which is typical for that segment. So, 150 to 250 nautical miles with reserve, and that's what we're targeting for our initial entry into service.
According to the company, the aircraft produces no carbon emissions, significantly reduces noise, and costs a fraction to operate per flight hour compared to light jets or high-end turboprops. The aviation industry accounts for around 3% of total carbon dioxide emissions. The manufacturers say the charging time will not be a handicap for the aircraft's operators.
We're targeting, call it 30 minutes of charge for an hour of flight time, or about 2C if you're looking at the lingo.
The company already has orders from DHL Express for cargo planes and 2 regional airlines for commuter aircraft. There is, however, no word yet on the cost structure of the aircraft. Bureau Report, Business Today TV.
That's how we leave it on the show tonight. Thanks so much for watching.
What is the most important thing in an investor meeting?
The idea?
It's the timing of the changing of the slides. Both partners need eye contact, breaths in sync. It's almost like magic. You stand there, I sit here. You look into my eyes, you blink twice, and that's when I...
Or you could just do this. It's like magic.
The all-new HP Spectre with AI-powered gesture control, designed on the Intel Evo platform.
कल आज और कल में देश के हर पल में कल आज और कल में देश के हर पल में कभी परछाई बनके कभी विश्वास बनके दिल में साहस का एहसास बनके उम्मीदों को सच्चाई के रंग से सजाते हैं मुश्किलें कोई हरदम साथ निभाते हैं कल आज और कल में रहते हैं देश के हर पल में रहते हैं कल आज और कल में रहते हैं देश के
1956 से आज तक LIC हर पल आपके साथ।
OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस।
क्या बात कर रहे हो? यही कि OLX ऑटोज ही देता है आपकी कार का बेस्ट प्राइस। ये प्राइस नहीं, सरप्राइज है। विजिट olxautos.in।
जेन्युइन प्रोडक्ट्स चाहिए तो नेटमेट्स पे जाओ। ओरिजिनल मेडिसिन एक्सपायरी डेट के साथ पाओ। नेटमेट्स, इंडिया की अपनी फार्मेसी।
The all-new Vivo V25 series. Vivo, भारत ले रहा है इलेक्ट्रिक अंगड़ाई। देश को ले जाए नई दिशा की ओर। आपका जॉय, भारत का जॉय।